Steven just picked up my new jeans. Check this out. The denim made in Japan, the pants put together in Sweden, all the way to my ass. You know how much they were? $295.
Steven, do you know how much my new pair of jeans were?
You said it in the voicemail.
I did?
295 big boys.
Oh, that's right. $295.
Oh, my God.
Well, so there's a jean place around the corner, right? I've been wearing these other jeans for years, multiple pairs. I've probably gone through 6 to 7 or 8 pairs of them because within a year, regardless of how many times I wear them, there's a hole in the crotch. Like, always, because my thighs are big, because I'm an athlete, and my penis takes up all that space. And so it wears out a hole on the right side every time. It's the inside thigh on the right always gets a blowout there. And they tell me that's where jeans generally blow out. But the problem is it's within a year. And yeah, I wore them every day.
Yeah.
But I also then tried a test where I bought 3 pairs and I rotated. And they were written, I wrote on the tag 1,
Monday,
2, and 3.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
No, I wrote 1, 2, and 3 on the tag, so I knew 1, 2, 3, and I would rotate them. And they
Today's number 1.
Yeah, basically. And after 8 months, they still had that blowout issue. So I've been wearing these Africa pants, as I call them, since I wear them in Kenya. They're these Prana. And they're just nice, right? They stretch, they show my butt nice, they've got ventilation where they got pockets, and they're kind of good. And I like working in them because you have the freedom of movement, unlike with jeans. So there's a jean store, a denim store, raw denim store around the corner from my house.
Is that the one we did the 5-minute portrait back in the day?
No, they're out of business. They've been out of business for a long time.
What was that? Was that the Canon 80D?
ADD, yeah.
Not the ADHD model, the ADD.
Was it the 60D?
No, it was the ADD. The 60D came out way before.
Oh. Well, this place is called Franklin and Porter. And so they have all types of different jeans. And I go in there and I'm trying on a bunch of different pairs, trying to get the right fit, trying to get the right feel. They have these Japanese denim, all made in Japan, or then there was Japanese denim that was sent to Sweden. And I ended up with the Swedish ones that were more expensive just because they fit better right off the rip. They're stiff like a board, but they said that if they fit right now, they will stretch up to like an inch around, and then when you wash them, they contract again back into the size.
Everybody's talking about my tight pants.
What is that?
Pants. My tight pants. You never saw that?
What is it?
It's the Jimmy Fallon skit with Will Ferrell.
No, never saw
They're
it.
rocking like 60s attire, and they're dancing in their extremely tight pants, and they're battling it out like whoever has the tightest pants in the neighborhood, and they're fighting over it.
Well, I like to have tight pants.
Look it up. Look up tight pants in YouTube, and you'll see.
I'll end up wearing these jeans for the show, and I'll just wear them. I need to wear them. I wanted a nicer pair of jeans to have, basically.
Only one pair.
Well, one pair for now. If I end up liking them, I'll just ask them to make the same pair that they, find another exact replica, and then I'll have 2 of them.
You could buy 6 pairs with that kind of money at a normal store.
And you might think that $295 is a lot, but if I don't have to go through 8 pairs of jeans that cost almost $200 back in the day, then I'm actually saving money by getting a better pair of raw denim jeans.
I think you underestimate the quality of normal jeans. Like they still last forever for me. I've had the same pair of jeans for years. I don't wear them every single day, but still I wear them a good amount.
The problem is I tried a pair of Levi's, like premium Levi's. My ass looked good for like one day, and then they don't look good in the seat anymore.
Yeah, but you can get more fitted. I wouldn't grab Levi's to get like a fitted look.
No, I don't like them. And I went with these because they're better, period. $295 worth. Speaking of $295 worth, that's almost what it cost me on a date for dinner.
Oof. Where'd you go?
No, I was like $190. I went to Morimoto, and I spend $100 myself usually.
Okay.
And get a bunch of stuff. And it was a one date and done. I texted her and let her know, and then she agreed.
Personality, looks. What are we thinking?
What was
here?
it this time?
Everything.
No, it was like.
What was the Seinfeld moment?
No, it was more. She looked one way in her pictures. She didn't look exactly like her pictures.
She catfished you.
No, it wasn't that. She just was a little.
She was a girl in the picture, and a guy showed up.
Yeah, that I would have been better off with. No, it was fine. It was an okay conversation, but I could tell that she would end up getting offended real easy by things that I would end up saying if I said them. That it wouldn't have gone well because, there's those discussions. She's just like, yeah, I don't reply to guys who don't ask questions in, when they send messages. If they don't ask a question, I basically stop talking to them. Or this guy made this joke, this guy said something to me because she's like 5'11", right? She's tall. And there was a guy who she said was like 5'5" and sent a message, and he's like, can I still get a ticket for the ride or something? And she's like, that's just sexual. I'm like, well, or maybe he's just making light of the fact that he's 5'5" and he would still like to go out with you, and it wasn't sexual. Like,
well,
there's this
ticket
disconnect.
For the ride makes sense because typically you have to be taller,
a certain height.
It's a joke on his height, yeah.
Right. So I'm like, and I said that. I'm like, well, not everything. I get you have experiences with men, and yes, there's guys that do stuff and say dumb shit.
Sure.
But I understand that. But when he said, can I still get a ticket for the ride? He's not. I mean, yeah, sure, you could take it sexual. You absolutely could. And maybe it has sexual undertones.
Sure.
And sometimes people just make sexual jokes, and other people are just like, yeah, that's funny. I actually like that. Right. But I took it as like, well, did you ask him what he meant by that? No, I just stopped talking to him. I'm like, well, that's like, I'm not like defending bros or guys, but when he says I would like a ticket, can I still get a ticket for the ride, is a height joke. Period.
100%. I mean, I feel like that's kind of obvious, but
no. So she got offended by that, and I was like, well, we just had our conversation. We had our dinner. We went along our way. I sent a text the next day and was just like, look, dinner was nice. We had a good conversation, but I don't think there's a romantic connection there. And that's it. And she's like, I agree. We're on the same page. Good luck.
I was going to ask, did she feel the same way? What was it instant? The second you sat down, you're like, yep, this is not working out.
Steven, as soon as the door to the car opened up and she walked out, I know this stuff.
I believe in love at first sight to a certain extent, for sure. I think you do have to be physically attracted to them right away.
Yeah, she wasn't bad looking, right? I mean, she was different looking than her photo. She's a 5'11". She's a big, I think that's pretty cool. Tall girls.
Bitch. What?
Yeah. Speaking of love at first sight, the other night,
hey.
Wow, hey.
Oh.
My other friend, now, she's into yoga, like 2 hours of yoga a day.
It's your kind of guy. I mean,
yeah, it is nice. It's nice.
Speaking of tight pants.
But you know what? The difference is I'm not an energy type person, like your aura, it's purple, which is an almost famous reference. And I don't really go by most of that. But when I'm with this person, you're like, yeah, I actually like being with you. I like hanging out with you, and you can sense something. Whereas with other people, you're just, yeah, no, I would just be forcing this, and I don't want to force this at all.
So why don't you continue talking to this one person?
Well, I will continue to talk to her. She just got out of a 4-year relationship, so she's not in a good space
Now's
there yet.
Now's not the right time.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to have fun.
Nope, not even that, because I wouldn't do that this time.
I was gonna say
this time I drew a line because I'm like, look, I don't even give a shit about that right now. I rather just like sit here and cuddle because it's nice and no one touches me ever in a cuddling manner. So other than my cat.
Question is, what does Jared want?
I know what Jared wants.
Please tell me. Therapist Steven is here.
I want to give a shit. I want to care. I want to have somebody to look forward to hanging out with, going home, and it goes beyond the sexual. And it's like actual.
Yep. It's what it's all about.
With that one person, I don't know if I've ever mentioned her name on here, but it's like we could grab baseball gloves and go have a catch, right? We could go play soccer and run around. We could grab her field hockey sticks and go play field hockey. Mm-hmm. Like all that shit was great. She was easy to deal with, could handle, the things I would say, and it wasn't like a big deal. It just worked until it, and it was mutually didn't work. But that's what I'm looking for, where you are so okay with just hanging out, doing things that the rest of the world doesn't really matter at that point. Of course. And it doesn't even have to be about sleeping with people. So I know what I want.
I think the biggest thing for you, if someone can get your mind off of like the work life. That's a big win.
Well, with her, it was great because she was in a very similar field. So we could talk about that stuff, and it was awesome.
Yeah, but I'm sure when you were with her, you weren't constantly thinking about like work in the back of your head.
I'm always thinking about work in the back of my head. I'm sleeping with a girl thinking about work. I'm like, oh, hey, I just got an idea. I hope my watch doesn't call anybody randomly. Which our one friend, we were in Germany with him, late nights, lots of drinking. Remember him? Germany, Photokina, British guy in his car in Seattle when he was kind of drunk and driving really fast.
Yes.
Don't want to give names here. Yeah, he's
his
divorced.
Very expensive car. Yeah.
Yeah, there was this one time he was sleeping with his girlfriend at the time, not his wife.
He butt dialed you?
And he butt dialed
Quite literally?
his wife.
Oh,
She
man.
texted back divorce.
Wait, that's how they got divorced?
Yeah, I think it was probably a known thing, and then it happened.
Oh, my God.
That's a good story, Steven. Welcome
I
to
guess
Raw
in
Talk.
hindsight, it's a good story.
Yeah, he was from behind. Welcome to Raw Talk 149, where we talk about
Everything but photography.
No, love is a part of it, Steven. People understand that. And I'm thinking when I go to Build, the Build conference, right now they said that I'm closing the event. I think 5 o'clock on the second day.
Wow.
Well, I don't know if that's good or bad. I'm still waiting to hear because before I probably spoke at 10 or 11 or 1 o'clock and it was, I don't know. I don't know if 5 o'clock at the very end of the event is a good time to speak on the second day at 5 o'clock.
I would think you would get a lot more people after work or leaving work early, but I really don't know.
The event ends at like 6, but
That's what I mean.
I know that they said that Casey Neistat spoke last year at 11 o'clock. I know I filled the room last year, and it must have been like 2 o'clock. I don't know that 5 o'clock makes sense, because what if people are leaving the city already?
I feel like if someone really wanted to see you, they're going to stick around regardless of time.
Well, I want a full room, Steven, because I want to be like, hi, I'm single, and does anybody have any women they recommend for me? This is all we're doing here is pitching Jared from the stage.
We're actually auctioning off Jared for the night.
Oh, no, because that could go to anybody. All right, so yeah, the Build
I actually
conference,
will be there with you this time.
Which day? Well, I guess we'll figure out what day you're
The
coming
day
up.
you're only speaking one day, right?
Yeah, I'm speaking one day, and yeah, we'll see, because you didn't go last year.
I figure we'll try and film some behind the scenes, the speech itself, any booth visits you do, whatever. We'll see.
Yeah, so that's B&H Build is on the. I have to pull up their website.
Man, while you're doing that, we haven't done that in a long time. Remember, we used to do all of the convention recaps, and I hated doing those things.
Hold that thought 1 second. June 17th and 18th at the Javits Center. It's free to enter. Go to B&H's website for Build Expo 2025, presented by B&H. Register for free. Calling all creatives. Join us for New York City's largest event for photographers, content creators, and filmmakers.
Do you need to register before the event, or can you simply
gotta
show up and register?
No, you got to register. It's free to register.
Sure.
Just register, because you print a pass, which I hope they do better than last year, and there's hundreds of speakers. There's people on this list that I have no idea. They have me under content creator instead of photographer.
I'm an influencer.
I'm an influencer.
Influence.
Like, I'll read some names off the list. For whatever, they got Scott Kelby, Alex Stepalewski,
Kelby, man.
Shuang Hu.
Oh, love him.
No, her, filmmaker.
Just kidding.
Roger Moore, Drex Lee, Oren, so I don't know who these people are. Thaddeus Muriu, Shane Hurlbutt.
Who'd you say? Shane who?
Hurlbutt. You know Shane.
Yeah. We interviewed him. Master cinematographer.
He's amazing. So yeah, there's tons of speakers. Tons. I'll be speaking. So there's speakers. There's all types of things. Conference. You get to do photo walks. There's a bunch of things to sign up. It's like Photo Plus, but it's free, like back in the day.
We got our buddy Jerry Gionis, one of the Nikon ambassadors. Peter Hurley, your buddy.
Shebang! 3, 2, 1. Hey, speaking of shebang, how are those shebangers doing, Peter?
Oh man.
Anyway, let's move on. I let you know that I built some shelves with my dad the other day. and cooked him dinner.
Did you build them or did you put something together? Because that's a big difference. And I know you, and I know you can barely put things together as is.
I can put things together. So my dad calls me the other day and he's like, I got a new hobby I'm going to partake in. It's orchids. I want to grow orchids.
You guys are so much the same. Always some random hobby that you go like 100% in on for like a few weeks and then completely forget about it.
He wants to grow orchids. He went to, what's that place called? Longwood Gardens. And then he's like, the orchids were pretty. He's like, I want to grow orchids. So he's like, I went and I bought some shelves. Well, at first he asked if I still had those shelves that we use in the basement. I'm like, well, yeah, but I'm not bringing them there. You know, I still use them. And so he went to Home Depot. He bought 2 of the ones that are 4 feet tall. And then I was like, you know what? I feel like I should, my brain went to, I should call him and be like, why don't I come over and we set them up together, like a bonding thing. And then I cook you dinner. So
how did that go?
Well, of course, you know, I get there, we have them. And I'm like, where's your mallet? You didn't bring the mallet? I'm like, you said you had a mallet to tamp these things. So they're the wire frames. He was setting up my old bedroom, which is empty now, and he's setting it up to be his grow room. And so I start reading the instructions. And what's he start doing right off the bat? Telling me how to set it up. No, telling me how to build it. I'm like, Dad, I'm reading the instructions. Doing something that I would have never done when I was younger. I would have just tried to do it and fucked it up and been pissed off and had to start over again. You know who I learned that from?
Him.
My dad. And who still does that?
Him.
My dad.
I'm actually surprised you read instructions. I feel like usually you're like him and just go all in.
No, Stephen, I will read the instructions. Same. unless they're in like broken English and really bad. I try to find a video first.
Honestly, even if it's the most basic thing that I'm 99.9% sure I know how to build, I will still read the instructions because I've been through a lot of different IKEA furniture where I've gotten to the end and then missed a step and had to go backwards. So now I make sure to read everything.
Well, of course, right off the bat, he's just like, well, I think you should do this. I think you should do that. I'm like, Dad, I want to count how many plastic bags of parts there are. And I want to cross-reference that with the instructions.
Make sure you're not missing anything.
And I'm like, and I start screwing the things together. He's like, I don't think you should do that first. I think you should put the shelf on first. And then I'm like, wait, did I read the wrong step? And then I go and I read again. I'm like, no, direction 1, screw these posts together. Step 2, do this. I'm like, all right, leave, like, go away. Like, let me do it. And so he's sitting in the corner. I'm setting it up and I get it. And I'm like, what height do you want this at? I don't fucking know. Right. Like,
because you got to figure out like where you want the tiers, the shelves themselves, like how spread out do you want them, all of that.
He's like, I'm like, Dad, you need to make a decision now because once they're set up, it's a real pain in the ass to knock them out and get the plastic and do all this shit. Anyway, so I get them all set up. It's fine. Everything works out. I get both of them set up. It's easy to do the second one because I just did the first one. And I go and I make dinner. I'm making Jared's world famous motherfucking fried chicken at his house. He had avocado oil, which I've never used before, so that's a different thing. I'm used to EVOO, but I brought most of the stuff. But one of the things I noticed is after I cook dinner and I put it on the table and I'm still prepping to get my like vegetables, which he'll never eat, out. Oh, he's already eating. It's like, do you not wait? Do you not wait? What am I, a server? Like, I want my food. I want to eat it now. That's just one of those long-term childhood things that must be locked in him.
100%.
Is like, as soon as it's on the table, I wait. I don't wait for the woman to sit with me or whatever.
But I'm surprised as a family growing up, he didn't kind of fix that issue.
As a family growing up, my mom would put it on the table and people would start eating right away. And then my dad would be like, Sharon, like, why don't you sit down and eat? It's like, well, I'm still getting shit ready while you're sitting there almost done. That's just a deep-seated thing. I didn't even bring it up.
I think of, since your mom's name is Sharon, I think of Randy from South Park and your dad's Randy and just like, Sharon.
No, it was never like that. So anyway, I built the shelves. I'll keep you updated on his grow room if he starts growing weed or something.
I was going to say, anything else?
No, but he might get grow lights because they're in the lighting business. So they could totally grow, he has grow lights. He has the opportunity to purchase whatever he needs, because they're in the business. So,
well, if he needs any advice on soil or anything, let me know because I am obviously a grass nerd and all things growing nerd.
He bought a book, so he's reading the book. At least he's reading, because I can never get him to read anything. When we grew up, we didn't ever read. It was never, oh, go read a book. I was like, I don't read books. Either do you. You don't read books, so why would I read a book? My mom read books. I may have mentioned this before. I remember being at the swim club.
Were they romance novels? Because my mom reads them.
Steven, I remember being at the swim club as like a 7-year-old and sitting there. My mom's got that, oil, that tanning oil, which is literally just bronze the fuck out of you. Yeah. And I'm like, Sharon, what are you reading? Can you read it? So she starts reading it out loud. And then all of a sudden she stops. It was probably along the lines of, and then his massive engorged schlong entered her wet, dripping
and then he caressed
mouth.
My thighs.
Yeah, and I was just like, so she stopped reading because that's what she was reading, I believe. It was probably one of those Fabio things in the 80s.
Every time I would go to the bathroom, my mom would always have just a stack of those random romance novels that she would read.
Really? I just had Playboys.
Oh, a little different in my house.
We had my grandfather, rack of Playboys. My dad, rack of Playboys.
Nice.
All of that stuff was just in. Oh, that was another thing from the date we mentioned. I mentioned that I grew up and had a lot of Playboys in the house, and it was like very open. And she went from a homeschooled Christian house. Yeah, red flag. And
red flag for you.
She's like, open is not always the best thing. And having those Playboys is giving a false sense of what women should look like and, perpetuating fake breasts. And I'm like, no, I could totally see that. And I could totally see that. But also, have you ever read the articles? I'm like, seriously, the articles were good.
I always think that's a joke when you say that. But I think you're being serious.
Steven, I have the entire 1970s Playboys that were given to me by a friend, this guy before he moved. I knew his daughter. And I read, they're like 5,000 word articles. These are fully thought out, amazing articles.
I totally get it, but I don't think someone's buying a Playboy for the articles.
No.
I think they're buying it for something else.
Yeah, but believe me, I don't like the big fake boobs, young lady, what's her name?
In the 70s, they might have been nice and natural.
In the 70s, they were natural. So I have the entire, I have that book, that 50-pound centerfold book where it's printed where the centerfolds are the actual size of the centerfold each page. And when you get to the late 60s and the mid, and all the way through the mid 70s, you're like, oh, these girls are hot, right? Because they're natural. Now,
and then all the sticky pages happened.
No. They're just really good photography. And then you look, I'm sure they were airbrushing shit, but they're probably like 22 years old or 19 or 18 back then when they were posing for this. But you're like, yeah, that could be today, for some of the girls. But then you get to like 1988, 89, 90, 91, 92, you're like, this sucks. These are like airbags deployed in their chest. And it's like, no.
Little fun bags.
Just too much. Anyway, that was just a side note. Another thing that, why we wouldn't be a good connection is I don't agree that being open and having discussions perpetuates the womanizing or looking down upon women. I think that's very judgmental to think that every person is the same. So anyway.
Well, back to building shit. I actually have to build Hannah a playhouse this weekend it should be arriving tomorrow, I believe. And it's like literally a mini little cottage made out of legit wood and everything that I'm just dreading that I have to put this thing together. I think it's going to take me, every review I've read, it's like, it takes like 5 to 8 hours to put together. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
What do you want from Jesus Christ? He's on break right now because there isn't a pope.
Can't it just be like a plastic paneling that I can just throw up 4 sides and call it a day?
That's Fisher Price, bro.
It is,
Remember
literally.
The Fisher Price ones?
They
with
still sell them.
The green door? Oh my God, I had so much fun in those.
Yeah, there's a lot of little tiny ones, but they're so small, and I wanted one a little bigger so she could grow into as she becomes a bigger toddler.
Just make sure you don't get a beehive in there.
Yeah, that's what scares me. They do sell covers on Amazon. I'm debating if I want to buy one of those and just keep it covered most of the time.
Yeah, but the cover will then create more humidity, and then that will draw more bees.
Well, a lot of the covers have like little air vents and stuff like that.
Daddy, I want to go play.
The only thing is you kind of get spiders because of it's nice and dark, perfect environment for them.
You love spiders. So anyway, let's move on here. Audiobook recording update, book number 2 update. The books have landed at the port of New York. I got an email today. I mean, I checked the log and I posted on the Kickstarter that the books had landed there. Now it's the next step of they have to go through customs. They have to then pick a date to get here. Then they need to have a lift gate and a pallet mover. I don't have a pallet mover. I might need to borrow one from Troy because I had one before from a neighbor, but he doesn't have it anymore.
Wait, they don't deliver with one?
No, they do deliver, and they're going to have a pallet mover, but they always pull that shit. It's like, it's not inside delivery. I'm like, oh, you're going to leave 12 pallets on the sidewalk? Here's $100. Like, let's just fucking move it. And plus, it's much easier than last time, because remember, last time, I still had that wood platform
Your
stuff
ramp
in
wasn't
the garage.
really a ramp, right? It
No,
was like falling apart?
It was we built it, but then a hole got in it because the shit was so heavy.
Yeah.
Now we don't have to worry about it because I have got the poured concrete that is a slow, gentle ramp.
Slope.
And you can take it all the way to the back. And then I need one just so I can move shit around and be able to get my car in and out. But if you haven't gone on Kickstarter and you purchased the book already and filled in your information, the backer survey, there was only 99 people that didn't. So we're probably down to maybe 40 or 50 that haven't filled in their information, which isn't bad out of 600. So make sure you fill in your information so I can send you your rewards when I get them in. Speaking of getting them in and rewards, the audiobook isn't a reward. It's just going to be available here as a podcast and possibly on YouTube like we did last time.
I think you might as well throw it up on YouTube if it's going to be done already. Why not? It might just not be the fully book like PDF version like we did with the Bernie book. We're still debating on that, but the audio is the hardest part when it comes to editing. So I feel like we might as well just make it look pretty on YouTube as well.
Yeah. So I finished the audiobook. Steven set up my speaking tent thing, audio.
Your vocal isolation booth.
My vocal isolation booth. That's right. Welcome to the vocal isolation booth, where I then hit record myself. Oh, I had problems, as Steven knows. I had problems. I get
always something.
Bent out of shape. Well, I have to be a particular way. And he put in there a Herman Miller stool, and I really didn't like the feel of sitting. It was too relaxed. I hated it.
I even said it to you. I'm like, you're not going to be in your chair. I know how particular you are. You're going to say something. You're like, it's fine. It's fine.
I wouldn't have liked being in my chair either because I was too far away from the computer. I don't see well. It's a 15-inch screen or 60. It's 16 now on the pad.
Yeah, but you could have scooted that little table over.
Steven, I tried everything, but I couldn't get in the right position. It didn't feel right. So I got rid of the chair. I stood up. I raised the platform, and it was just so much easier to stand there and get it done that way. It took me like 3 days going in and out of the booth, an hour or so at a time, page by page, and I did it.
And the booth is not a soundproof booth. It's more meant to cut down on reverb. Again, it's more of like an isolation booth. It's basically a pop-up tent with sound blankets for the most part.
Yeah.
But it is nice because we could break it down and pack it up on the side, or it's so small, it's only a 3x6 foot booth meant for 2 people recording audio. It's like a closet, and we could just throw that in the corner, and then if we ever want to do a voiceover or something like that, we can record in there because we have the absolute worst recording environment in that building. So it's nice to have something like this where we can record proper audio. Honestly, if you did the podcast in there, that would be perfect because it would sound great.
I might consider it.
It's up to you.
I might, but I'd be standing the whole time.
Oh, well, in that case.
I would need to have a different chair.
I'm surprised you liked standing for, 6 to 8 hours a day.
Well, I wasn't in there that long. Have you even looked at how long the audio is?
I did. It's 7.5 hours, which
really?
I don't understand how it's 7.5 hours because I'm pretty sure the Bernie book was 10 hours and that's like 50 pages less than this book.
Well, yeah.
And less pictures.
But I may not have gone into as much detail this time.
Well, that's what I'm concerned about because I was there for the Bernie book and I would kind of make you go back and say certain things. And this time around, I hope there's enough detail. That's all.
Yeah, but I didn't want to talk about every single photo in super detail. I just thought it would get monotonous and repeating the same shit. So I didn't.
For me, it's more about the story behind the photo. If there's a picture of Dave Grohl scooting with his boot on.
I talked about that.
What's the story behind that? How the manager called you up maybe and said some stuff.
I didn't talk about that.
But there's like stories like that. Backstage green rooms, like why are you there? What were they doing? What tour was it? I want to hear that. I want to hear the behind the scenes.
No, I did do that. I wasn't talking about that other thing. I definitely wasn't talking about that.
Okay.
But I did share a lot of information, read every word. See, the difference is there's 8,000 words, there's 10,000 words in the book. So certain stories I didn't need to tell because I already read the story, right? Like I read that. And because of that, I didn't have that in the Bernie book. So here I read what I said, and then I'd interrupt myself on occasion to go into more detail in the middle of talking. I read my mom's emails. I got angry at my mom's emails. I cried at my mom's email. I got angry because what the fuck? It's one big run-on sentence, Mom. Like,
learn from the best.
I was just like, wait a sec, where's your punctuation?
Did you ever read your emails that you
This
send
is
to
very
me?
difficult to read, Mom.
I have to decipher your emails every time. I'm like, I think he's trying to say this, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. So anyway, the audiobook recording is done. I have to go back and redo the first part where I wasn't saying page numbers, only for the first handful. And other than that, it's going to be fine.
Yeah, my concern is that if someone wants to start in the middle of the audiobook or pick back up at a certain point, it's good to have that transition of saying like pages 50 to 51 or something, just so people are aware, hey, this is the page we're on right now. I can flip to that page instead of randomly being like, wait, which picture is he talking about? There's 30 Silvertide photos. Which one is he talking about right now?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's also section headers and all of that stuff as well.
Perfect.
But I feel good about it. I flowed. I talked about what I wanted to talk about. I didn't push the envelope of like, I'm just talking just to talk. And so if there wasn't much to say about a photo of Nick Perry jumping in side-by-side photos, there wasn't much to say.
So the great thing this time around is that you could record yourself. That we bought that isolation booth so you could do that, so we could have clean audio. The biggest thing that helped us out was having the new Zoom H6 Essential recorder, which is a 32-bit float recorder. So now you can basically start recording and not have to worry about levels or gain or any of that. And then we can figure it out in post in terms of like the perfect level and everything, because it's basically recording HDR audio for the most part with such high dynamic range.
Yes, I guess that makes it. It does make it easy that I can just walk up there, turn the switches on, and hit record.
You don't have to worry about getting too loud, too low. Everything will be evenly recorded, and there's going to be no clipping or anything. So that's the beauty of it.
The biggest thing I hate about certain audiobooks that I've listened to when I was on Audible is you would be listening to a chapter, then the chapter would end, and then the audio recording would be different for the next chapter. The levels were different. I'm like, guys, one fucking job. One job. The levels should be the same. The speed, everything should be the same from one chapter to the next. But they weren't.
The only thing I've noticed on your recordings is there's a lot of sibilance and like your beard rubbing up against the mic, or you getting, because you tend to like kind of throw your head all around the mic like this, you know, just hold the mic here, talk straight. Your screen might be below you and you might be looking down like this, or you might be looking up like this.
It wasn't below me at all. So I definitely tried to stay on the mic because I could hear in my ears if I got away from it.
And I'm actually surprised you kept monitoring yourself. I gave you headphones for that reason. I think 100% you need headphones, but I know how you are with headphones usually.
No, I needed it, so I made it work.
Perfect.
That explains why my hair was so flat yesterday. Because I had the headphones on, and that's why that was a flat section.
Why do I look like Krusty the Clown?
Man, but my fro wasn't up. All right, let's move on from there. I've got a YouTube thing I want to talk about with YouTube advertising. We've got good versus bad photos. We want to talk about that. We got a hashtag don't be an asshole update, as well as talking about a couple of pieces of gear, the Canon 75-300 and why it might not be released in the US, and the Sigma BF first thoughts. If you saw my Instagram reels, I did 3 reels about the BF, but I got an email yesterday from my YouTube partner creator. I didn't realize I lost my other partner creator again for the 15,000th time, and now I have another YouTube partner creator woman, and they're always good looking because I Google them. I always Google them, and I'm like, actually, the best one I ever had was this Spanish speaking guy who did a lot with the Spanish YouTubers.
Okay.
And he was awesome because he knew what I did. He knew my channel already from photography, and he requested that he be my YouTube partner person.
That's how it should be. They should know the channel inside and out. They should be a true fan or follower at that point. instead of just randomly giving you generic advice across the board to everybody.
Well, so that's the shit that pisses me off. And this woman wants to have a conversation. I was like, it would be better if you just asked me questions and met into this, and I could decide to answer or not. Because she's like, oh, we have some ideas for how you could better do this. I'm like, look, you're the 20th person that I've had, and I don't mean any disrespect. And it's not because I lose them. After 6 months, they transition to other parts of Google, and so I'm going to get on the call with her, and it will be the same thing as always. Tell me about your channel. No, I will not tell you about my channel. You fucking go look into my channel and you ask me questions. I've been doing this for 15 fucking years and have 1.5 million subscribers. You coming on here and telling me, if you change your thumbnail and titles a little bit, it might do this. Well, go ahead.
I was just shaking my head just because I know, again, they're going to offer the most generic advice that
which is what
any
they always
Joe
do.
Schmo on the street would be like, hey, you should probably focus on thumbnails and titles or having better visuals or whatever it may be, or focus on shorts. That's the big thing, even though shorts are BS in my opinion.
You know that as well as I do is that when they were talking about podcasts 2 years ago, you and I got on a call with them about the podcasting software or the integration they were trying to do, which isn't the current integration. The current integration works better than what they were trying to do at the time. And they were trying to talk us into starting a separate channel to do podcasts. And I'm like, that just doesn't make sense. And they're like, well, and then I would ask questions like, well, we don't know. We don't have an answer. We don't know. I'm like, well, I'm not doing that. And now the whole thing is they don't recommend having a second channel.
Yep. They've basically screwed over those people that they recommended having a second channel for. Like I think of H3H3, for example, who's been in a lot of drama lately, by the way.
Again?
Like always, yeah. Him and iDubbbz are fighting, if you guys
I don't know who
you
iDubbbz is. I know nothing about these guys because it's the lowest garbage shit. Like that Patricia Payas or whoever the fuck she was at the time.
Who also did a podcast with H3, Ethan
Yes,
Klein.
I'm saying, like, I remember, I see the meme, she's just like, what if gravity was never invented?
You know what's funny is Trisha Paytas is actually married to Ethan, who's H3, his wife's brother. So technically, Trisha is Ethan's sister-in-law.
How could anybody marry her?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Like, imagine going out to dinner and I'd be like, we're done. Like, no, I can't listen to this anymore.
Yeah, I just know there's a lot of drama and infighting in that family because of her, mainly.
Anyway, I don't give a shit, so let's move on.
Anyway, they started a separate channel for the H3 podcast and essentially abandoned their main channel, H3 Productions. And I'm sure now they wish they just kept it all under one channel and then they could just have one massive channel instead of two separate ones.
Yeah, so let me read you this email that I got after just from the woman introducing herself. Hi, I'm your new partner program person, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I wanted to give you a heads up because I noticed a potential opportunity to increase your... It sounds like a pyramid scheme already.
Always.
I wanted to give you the heads up because I noticed a potential opportunity to increase your overall ad earnings. If you weren't aware, your channel currently has opted out of alcohol and gambling ads on YouTube. Oh. While the choice to enable these ad categories is entirely voluntary, doing so can help you connect with new advertisers and earn more from your content. That being said, we do recommend thinking through whether these types of ads make sense for your viewer and if there are any local requirements that might impact your decision to enable. Now, first off, there's a reason it's disabled already. I already thought it through. I already made that decision that these gambling companies can go fuck themselves and these alcohol companies can go fuck themselves. I've said it in my videos that I'm taking a direct hit, not making more money because I refuse to do energy drinks, sodas. Not that any of those companies were coming to me, but I refuse to do gambling and I refuse to do the other thing that they're talking about here, alcohol.
Speaking of alcohol, I haven't had a sip of alcohol in over 4 months.
Do you want a fucking cookie, Steven?
I do.
Do you want a fucking cookie?
Took a lot of freaking work, man. Really did.
Cool. Did you get a coin? Do you want a Frono's photo coin to mark the occasion? You know, because that's what people do, right? They like, don't get me started on this thing. I understand that it's difficult. I don't understand that it's difficult.
I was going to say, you don't understand.
I don't understand that it's difficult.
But it's a serious accomplishment.
That's great. I'm glad you did that. I'm a big fan of not drinking. But my new thing has been when you go to somewhere and someone's like, "Oh, you don't drink? Are you straight edge? Are you in recovering? Are you this?" And I'm like, "No. I just can drink if I want, and I choose not to. It's this idea that people have that because I don't drink, there must be like I might be recovering or some other things that they try to throw at you. I'm like, no, if I wanted to have a drink, I would have a drink. I can go to a bar and have no drink and have zero desire to even have a drink. But then there's the other people that go to a bar and they feel self-conscious that someone is judging them because they don't have a drink in their hands, even if it's just water or seltzer.
So I went to a bar with a couple buddies 2 weeks ago, and I had that very same issue for the most part, where everybody was drinking and I wasn't. I didn't really care, though. To be honest, I was just fine chilling and having a conversation. Now, I did get water on occasion just because I was thirsty, but I didn't feel like I needed to have a drink, or I felt like I was socially awkward because I didn't have a drink in my hands.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I mean, I know you had that problem when you were transitioning from men to women.
Yeah, that too. Yep.
Also, I did mail something to your door. It is a case of beer and cigarettes.
I got you a 6-month subscription for 6-packs every week.
You know, my one friend, she has a sister who's recovering, and she's always saying like, she's 6 years clean today. And I'm like, can I buy you a shot? Oh,
now don't get me wrong. I wasn't an alcoholic or anything. I just enjoyed having a lot of beverages over the weekend, and I just was gaining too much weight, in my opinion. So I wanted to work on my health overall. And that was one of the first things I had to cut out was alcohol. For now, that is not me quitting forever and being sober. I just I'm actually going to start it back up in a few weeks because I have a festival that I'm going to. And I'm like, that's going to be my mark. That's going to be my point. I'm okay to have a beer or two. I'm not going to hold myself back altogether. I want to be able to just go to a party or a gathering and have a beer or two and not feel like I need to drink 10. That's my big thing.
That's perfect, because that one time I saw you at that Third Eye Blind show.
Oh, well.
At Festival Pier.
I was like blackout drunk.
You were, woo!
I don't even remember most of their set. That's because we pre-gamed hard as hell and then went to the show and drank even more.
That's because your friends... You have like a massive friend group. I am so like, I don't have 30 friends that I just meet up with and hang out with. And you just literally have 30 friends in this group.
We still stay connected for the most part, but it is slowly dwindling, at least the hangouts, because we all have children and families now. It's a lot harder to, I mean, even the guys, we're trying to plan out stuff for months in advance, and we can barely pick a date 2 months out because we're just booked.
Yeah, you're just booked. Anyway, so the moral of the story here is I just wanted to bring up the fact that this isn't just lip service from me when I say that I don't take advertising from certain things. This is the perfect example of it, because I must have clicked this button a long time ago, being unaware that it even existed. And so for them to email, I'm going to hate this phone call. I would love to record it, which I'm not going to do, but it's going to be the like, hey, I just, we could do some things. See, there's opportunities to make more money. And then it will be dumb shit like, the first 24 hours are the most important. So you want to make sure that it's clickbaity, but not too. But I'm like, yeah, you guys are forgetting about long-term videos.
You should turn on 50 ads in one video.
Yeah, that's the thing is I noticed that you don't have mid-rolls. I mean, we do.
We do one, usually.
But I do one. But if you put on auto mid-rolls on, say, a 20-minute video, it puts like 6 ad breaks in there.
More than that. I mean, I've seen it where it puts like 20. It's ridiculous. It's like every minute.
So I'm foregoing certain money because it just, for the betterment of the viewer, I forego certain things. And for my own standing, I mean, I would promote dildos and sex toys all day because those are actually healthy for you versus the alcohol and drugs. What?
I mean, both can be an addiction. To a certain extent.
But if you're addicted to jerking off, it's a little less damaging unless, you rub one out in bunch off. But it's less, it's better for your health. It's actually good for your prostate. But it's better than being an alcoholic and a fucking, chain smoker.
Gambling degenerate.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I forgot the gambling part. But yeah. I'd rather have you have sex toys.
Have you noticed any uptick in terms of ad revenue? Because we have been turning on the mid-roll ads and we used to never do that.
No.
I feel like it looks the same.
I feel it looks exactly the same because I'm not doing 27 ads in the middle. I refuse to do it.
Yeah.
So there you go again. We're not getting paid as much as we could on YouTube because I refuse to play I don't want to do it. It's a bad viewing experience. I don't like it when I'm viewing other people's videos that do that, and therefore I'm not making you guys do that. And no, YouTube Red is, YouTube Red is not the answer. I don't care about watching ads, like a couple of them, but if you're going to throw 500, the majority of people that have YouTube do not have YouTube Red.
I'm curious how many people actually pay for YouTube Red.
I know, but I hear they have 100 million YouTube Music customers now.
Really?
Yeah. It must be a lot of foreign people that have it, but...
Well, I will say if you look on the YouTube Music app, it's a really nice listening experience for the podcast. That's really what it's meant for, not really for the YouTube video side of things. It's meant to go on the YouTube Music app.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to this good versus bad photos. I was doing a rapid fire critique, and this person was pretty new, right? Within a year, and they were giving me information on, like, I've just started shooting, I'm looking to do this, and a majority of the photos just weren't good yet. But then there's the few that always happen where you stop and you go, oh shit, that's a good photo. And I think that people today are more in tune with shitty photos, that when they do see something good, they don't know why it's good. And then they're like, oh, that's good. But also, they're just used to seeing such garbage that they take garbage as being a good photo because they also don't know when a good photo slaps them in the face sometimes.
I also think a lot of it gets blended together these days because of FOCA, because of the fake background blur that you're seeing in a lot of iPhone photos. A lot of people equate a blurry background with a professional photo. At least I feel like with some of my family. Like, for example, Easter, I brought the Fuji X100 6 and was just literally taking snapshots, had Hannah in one hand, one arming it, taking pictures randomly with the other hand. Nothing crazy, using your favorite, using the screen, not even the EVF half the time, if I had her in my hands. And, these were just simply snapshots, uploaded them to my family's GroupMe, the family chat that we use. And I got a lot of responses like, these are great, Steve. I love these photos, blah, blah. And I'm like, these are literally terrible snapshots. I simply just uploaded them, zero editing with JPEGs because they're family photos. That's it. I didn't expect anything else from these. And I got a lot of responses like, these are the best photos ever. I get the same responses if I put actual professional photos up, but I think it just gets blended together because they see blurry background and they're like, oh, it's a really nice photo. And me being a photo nerd, I knew the composition was dog shit. I knew everything about the photo was shitty. But again, I just wanted to upload them because they're simply family photos. And I was just surprised at the reaction, that it was the same reaction that I normally get when I post nice photos.
Yeah. There's a big difference between snapshots and real photos, but most people don't get it.
Yeah.
Well, they don't get it, but there is a difference. Like, there is a major difference when you look at my work compared to the person next to me at a concert. You just look and you're like, what the fuck were you thinking? We're literally standing next to each other, and this is the shit that you're shooting?
I mean, I feel like that's how me and you became friends, was comparing photos to everybody else's in the pit and being like, how are they getting this? We are not even close to getting that.
My favorite was always when a show started and the lights didn't go on.
Yep.
And people are snapping away.
All the mirrors flapping up and down.
I'm like, what are you shooting? Because they haven't turned on the lights yet. You're not getting any good photos. I know you're not getting, for a fact.
I would still shoot if there was backlight so I can get a cool silhouette or something.
That's different.
Yeah.
This is when no light was on whatsoever.
Yep.
And they're like snapping, well, we only have 3 songs. I'm like, but don't shoot just to shoot.
Also, back to me shooting with the Fuji, I've realized that I absolutely hate that viewfinder compared to something like a R5 that I normally use, just because it is so tiny.
Phone call. Oh, it's Fuji Japan. Steven, you're never going to get a camera to review again. You're banned like Jared.
It's just it's so small and so dim. I have to max the brightness out.
Oh, I see. I never had that problem with that viewfinder.
Yeah, well, I was also shooting outside on a super sunny day. Hey, if only I had the Nikon Z6 III viewfinder. And then
with 3,000
burn my
nits
eyeballs
of brightness, you would just sear the image.
4,000 nits, Jared. Get it right.
Sear the image into your cornea.
But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the EVF. Everything else about the camera is great. I'm still questioning which Fuji film simulation I prefer. I don't know what you guys like, but please let me know what you prefer because I'm all over the place with these. I thought I liked classic chrome at first. Turns out I really don't. I think I'm on the nostalgic negative now.
How about you just shoot RAW and figure it the fuck out later?
Again, this camera is not meant for that, for what I'm doing.
Whatever.
I'm still shooting RAW plus JPEG. So if I do capture that one moment where I want to put more editing into it and print it out or something like that, I have it.
All right, moving on. Hashtag don't be an asshole. I only bring this up because there was an article posted on Petapixel and all the comments went to exactly what I thought it would go to. Let me do a quick reading of what happened. The headline reads, photographer has camera bag with $10,000 of gear stolen overnight. Now that's an absolute horrible headline from Petapixel because it forgets the fact that they left it in the car. Yeah, they had their shit stolen overnight. Oh, okay. But it should have said from their car. And let's just preface this with, I am victim blaming. I am 100% victim blaming because the photographer is at fault for this happening.
Way to hit him while he's down.
No, like, I don't want to, but it's the facts and the truth. And I feel bad. I feel horrible that the person's livelihood,
but
as they quote unquote,
say it.
Someone needs to say it, Steven, because if you never say it, everybody thinks it, but they do not say it.
My thing is, it's common sense. Don't leave your shit in the car.
Right. But I'm like Jerry Maguire. The things we think but do not say. Right? That's the whatever he wrote.
I just think of show me the money. What do you say that?
Show me the money.
You had me at hello, Jared.
You have my job.
Good Day to Remember song, by the way.
I don't know that anyway. According to the news, Wall, who started his photography business when he was 17 years old, woke up the next day and walked out of his house to discover that the truck had been broken into and his camera bag holding a lifetime's worth of equipment. First off, I don't mean to be like an elitist here, but $10,000 in equipment is not it can be enough.
Really? I would think that's the average professional kit. That's probably about what I had when I was shooting most shows.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess if you save up for a lifetime, yes, it's expensive. It's a lot of money. I totally understand that. That doesn't indemnify the person from leaving it in their fucking car overnight.
Of course.
But the reason I wanted to point it out, they do list the gear like an A7R4, an A7 III, 35-1.4 Sony, and a 24-70 Sigma lens, and a bunch of other stuff, as well as, but it says, in addition to the camera equipment, the photographer says the most devastating loss was the SD cards, containing multiple images from graduation photo shoot sessions that had been stolen from his truck. It's always been more about the client and, making sure they have fun and, celebrate milestones, he says. We do weddings and graduations and all of that stuff, and that was on those SD cards. Come on, bro. You cannot. How do you do that? How do you do that? How do you not take your SD cards and back them the fuck up? Like, seriously, you can't have multiple shoots on an SD card or on SD cards. And I literally finish a shoot. What do I do?
Yeah,
I back it the fuck up.
That's pretty bad. I personally thought it was, again, common sense just to back up your stuff immediately before the next event or shoot. I might not back it up the second I get home like you do, but I definitely back it up before my next photo shoot.
Well, but just leave it. Why are you leaving it in your truck? You're at home. Take your bag in the house. Oh, you have memory cards from multiple shoots? That's your fault for getting that shit stolen, man. I'm sorry to say it.
He said A7 IV and A7 III, which are dual card slot cameras.
It said A7R4 and A7 III.
Okay, still dual card slot cameras. So I could see it personally, if I ever shoot with 2 card slots, it's going to be dual redundant with RAW recording on both. And one I will always be dumping and the other one I'll just keep in the camera with everything on it. I could see that stuff being lost, but it's already backed up from the first card.
Well, not unless you just leave them in your camera and don't take them out.
But my point is, it should be even easier to back up data and not lose it.
his sister started a GoFundMe, and it has raised $2,540 of a $5,000 goal. I feel bad. Of course, I don't believe they have insurance, and they lost this shit. But I feel bad that this happens. But I will 100% victim blame you when your shit gets stolen from the car at your house. There are other circumstances where it makes sense that shit stays in your car in certain places, that it might be safer there than on your person. There's always mitigating different circumstances that could happen. But when it comes to going into a restaurant, I still roll my bag with me into the restaurant and I take it. Is it safer in the car, or is it safe in the car? The honest truth is probably pretty damn safe in the car if you're looking out the window watching your car while you're at lunch.
At least put it in the trunk. At least do that. I know you can still get into the trunk if you break into the car, but at least it's not in
Visible.
eyesight.
Yeah. Or if you've got a Tesla, you can put it in the frunk, and it's much harder to steal something from the frunk, because how are you opening the frunk without the key? You're not.
Yeah.
And there's an underwell in the back of the car that you can also put it in if you ever need to do something like that.
There you go.
Now let's move on to the Sigma BF. I know I mentioned a little bit about the Canon 75-300. Go watch that in Photo News Fix. I do a story on it. Probably the reason it's not coming to the US, tariffs right now, that Canon doesn't want that lens to be even more expensive because it's supposed to be a pretty cheap lens, but we'll skip that because we're pretty far in. But let's talk about the Sigma BF, which I have. Oh shit, I just dropped it, Steven.
Only 9 of them are made every day, Jared.
I just put a wristband on it because look at this, Steven. Look at how I have. Look at this. This is the thumb thing on the back of the BF.
Oh.
Look at that little nub.
Yeah.
It's like what you see when you take your pants off. It is not. So Sigma sent me this, and I requested the 35 millimeter lens, the 35 f2, because it's in silver to match the camera. And, sitting on an informational phone call with them, they talk about the art. It's like an art piece, and it's a full frame camera that would be great for everyday carry, better than your cell phone because it's full frame and all of this stuff, and it's beautiful.
Beautiful foolishness.
Oh, that's what it stands for again?
Yep. Biff.
But I took it right out. When I took it out of the box, I was like, nah, this doesn't feel good in the hands. This does not feel like a camera I want to hold on to. And that's not being judged. This is like, if I rip on stuff like the Nikon ZF and the Nikon ZFC, why would I not rip on this? Like, it is a rippable camera. And then I couldn't figure. What's cool though, the haptic feedback. Oh, I just accidentally turned it on. The haptic feedback buttons feel like real buttons.
And I know that's something you've always asked for, right? Was haptic feedback?
Yeah, in the shutter button. I think they do have it in the shutter. They might. Let me take a picture because it has internal recording. Turns on fast. Nope, doesn't have haptic feedback in the shutter button. It just makes a click noise. But the problem is, this is the screen. So this is the only screen you have. You don't have an EVF. You just have the back screen, which is hard to see at certain angles, and it doesn't get super bright. It's the only thing you have to view when shooting pictures.
I'm really surprised they did not give it an EVF or even like a rangefinder style EVF of some sort.
Well, it has no hot shoe. I hear the complaints, because this is coming directly from Sigma themselves, is this small battery, is that the battery life isn't very good because the battery isn't very big, but you can charge it through USB-C. Well, that's how you charge it. And you can have a phone charger with you to charge it. I'm going to take it out on a shoot. I'll probably take it to the Phillies to walk around the stadium. I might take it out to a Bernie Sanders rally, which is coming to Philly today. I might do that. But my first take is like, this is not easy to hold on to. It does not feel good in the hands.
So I felt the same way with the Fuji. I absolutely needed to get an additional third-party grip because if I did not, this thing felt like shit, in my opinion. It had that little nub that you're used to. So I had to get a wooden grip, and it looks sexy too, in my opinion.
I will say, without the lens on it, it feels nice. When you take the lens off and you look, it's a box with a full frame sensor. That's good.
Is it heavy?
Yeah. It's it's not as heavy, obviously, when you take the lens off, but you're not using this camera without a lens. This is the problem. You come up with basically a $2,000 point and shoot camera that you still need to add a lens to. I'm not going to carry around extra lenses for this thing. This isn't my, like, if you get into this system to be like, I want to have extra lenses, then you might as well have bought a real camera from anybody.
See, that's why I got the Fuji, is because I didn't want to have to buy a bunch of different lenses. I wanted just a one and done 35 mil equivalent and call it a day. Move my feet. I feel like if I bought that camera, I would just stick a 35 on there and call it a day.
Well, that's what I did.
Yeah.
I stuck a 35 on here.
I would not be bringing a bag full of lenses around.
No, but that was like, they were trying to tell me that it's like, it's like an everyday camera type camera, for just when you want to take pictures. I mean, it has a full frame sensor and this autofocus. I'm like, yeah, but the problem with that is that the cell phone is good enough for most things. And yes, will your photos be better with a full frame sensor? But I have to carry this fucking thing around all day. And it feels like shit in the hands.
I definitely still find myself pulling my cell phone out a lot more than the Fuji, I will say. But I try to bring the Fuji around if it's going to be more of like a family event.
And then there's people that are like, oh, but you just get a cage for it or you get a grip for it. Well, that defeats the whole purpose, you fuckers.
I did this for the Fuji.
Well, I recommend that for the Fuji.
The grip, yeah.
Give me the Fuji camera all day over this thing. I don't care about the Fuji with a crop sensor. It's not about the sensor. It's about the feel of the camera, what you get from it. It's not about nostalgia for me, but it's like, it's a practical camera. And I'll get better results with that.
And the crop sensor, it's 40 megapixel APS-C sensor with a fixed 23 millimeter lens on there, but the equivalent's like a 35 f2. It's really not bad at all. I know full frame, it's going to be more equivalent to like 2.8 in terms of like the aperture, blurry wise.
Who cares? But it's an everyday camera that you can take with you. That's an everyday camera that you take with you. This Sigma BF, not so much an everyday camera that you take with you because it's just not practical. The only people that would end up buying this are people that want to show off a tool, like it's a fashion statement, which is fine if that's what you choose to do and you want to be seen carrying this around, but it's just like, oh, and it just doesn't feel great in the hands to hold it like this. I can't just let it rest on my thumb, which like you do with good cameras, or you hold the grip and it just feels natural. There is nothing to grab onto. It has the knurling of the grip right here, but there's no grip. It's a flat piece of metal.
Literally a box, a rectangle in your hands.
Yes. And so it would probably be better, Stephen, if I shot a picture like this, holding my 4 fingers up top and my thumb wrapped around next to the grip and my finger, one of my fingers just pressed. Yeah, this feels better.
That's comfortable to you?
No, it's not fucking comfortable. My shoulder feels like it wants to fall off, but it feels better to hold this camera that way because look, Stephen, look, if I didn't want to, what if you have no thumbs? If you have no thumbs, you can't use this camera because there's nowhere to grab. It just doesn't make sense.
Don't buy this camera if you have no thumbs.
Where it makes sense, that's a good one. Let's put that up in the title. Sigma BF. Don't buy if you don't have thumbs. Can you write that down? For real? No. I like that. I like that, Stephen. Put that in the notes. Sigma BF. Don't buy ... if you don't have thumbs. That's actually pretty good.
I don't think it's good at all.
That's great. Stephen, what do you think of the title Book 2?
Terrible.
Right. Because it makes sense. It's funny.
It doesn't make sense. I do think you should have at least called it Book Roman numeral 2 and not the number 2, because then it's Book 2, 22, 2 more 2s, years of photography. Yeah. And it looks weird in the title.
Yeah. No, that's great.
I will forever. You know my thoughts. I'm not even going to bring it up again. You know my thoughts on it.
I didn't want Roman numeral 2. I wanted the number 2.
It's called Book 2. Well, what's it about? Book 2.
Doesn't matter. It's Book 2. You're not buying it on a fucking shelf. You're not buying it on a shelf. And you're not buying this Sigma. And Sigma is not going to be happy. But I don't know what you expect. I'm not going to sit here and put lipstick on a fucking pig and be like, yeah, this is great. From a design standpoint, It's unique and different. From a physical use standpoint, it is not a very usable design. You want to say that it's, look, it's a feat of engineering. You cut out an aluminum block. You did some cool shit to it. You made it look like Apple. You got a ton of press, which definitely made it worth it for you. But this is not a camera that anybody should be buying unless you want a fashion statement and you're a Rolex wearer or a Leica user and you want to be cool. That is it. It's not even about photography at this point. There's better options.
Like I've said from the beginning, it is simply a collector's piece, in my opinion.
It's not a collector's piece. It's not like you're going to sell it 10 years down the road.
No, I'm saying it's something that will sit on your shelf and impress people when they come by.
My Lytro doesn't impress people.
Well, that's an interesting story, though, Lytro. And it's just a weird looking, talk about lipstick. It literally looks like lipstick.
Now, speaking of a company that probably didn't like me at the time, 100% didn't like me because we know that.
You shit all over them.
Shit all over it. And who was right, Steven? Who was right? This guy.
Well,
because
the
it
funny
made
thing
no
is,
fucking sense.
Apple pretty much implemented that technology into their iPhone with their Foca, where you can't change the actual focus, but you can adjust that background blur, which kind of does that.
Well,
in the
Google
end.
also bought them. They bought Lytro at the end and might have used some of the computational technology in their stuff.
At least they got paid.
Yeah, but they burned through. They raised so much money and only got bought for a certain amount less.
But remember the second iteration of that camera? It actually felt like a camera. They were getting somewhere. They had a huge booth and presence at one of the, maybe Photo Plus, one of the conventions.
It still made no sense. You can't print the pictures. It was all a digital world of changing focus. It
And you
just
had
made
to use
no
their
sense.
software
Their
to do it.
proprietary software for light field photos.
And then Canon tried to follow up with their dual pixel, what the hell is it called? Dual pixel something. Not AF, but it was... Was it just dual pixel?
Dual pixel focus or something. Basically what it did is it shifted the focus, took two pictures, and then gave you the option. It was bad. It slowed everything down to 1 frame a second.
And remember, you could only change the focus like a hair.
Yeah, it was not very good.
I'm talking like if it was on your eyebrow or something, you could maybe change it to like your eyelid, if that.
If it was on your nub, it would be even better.
Dual pixel RAW, that's what it was. And they introduced that, what was it, the EOS R maybe?
No, 5D. Mark IV had it.
Was it the DSLRs?
No, probably not.
It might have been. It might have been. I don't remember. They also didn't promote it at all because it's just worthless technology. Like you said, it just limits everything else. Your frame rate, everything.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to take the BF out into the world. I'm going to put a camera on my forehead so we can see me shooting with it. It won't have an EVF. It's going to be very difficult to see. I'm shooting it on basically full auto because I set the aperture to f2. The camera's going to do auto ISO and it's going to do auto shutter speed. I don't know if there's manual. It's not easy to figure shit out in this camera.
There's got to be manual.
I do like the little screen on the back that says...
Yeah, that is cool.
That says the f-stop or it says DNG or says whatever it says. I like that, but I don't know how to change to manual. I will say the IAF is finding your eye really well. Oh, and there's no stabilization, so everything looks nice and shaky, but the IAF...
See, again, that's where at least the Fuji has IBIS.
Yeah. I don't think so I think there's technology in this that it, like, I'm sure the sensor's fine. Well, it's using like a Sony sensor probably. Colors on the screen look pretty good. The autofocus found your face, so found your eye, and I think that's pretty good. I think the technology's fine. It's just they literally created a box. We've always said create a box with a sensor, but it needs grips. It needs functionality. They would have been better off making a cheaper box, not made out of this, but made out of plastic that has a full frame sensor, but has connection points where you could buy accessories like a grip, an EVF, and other things to make your job easier.
Well, speaking of that, does it have any I/O? Like, can you put a microphone in it? Can you attach anything? There's not even a cold shoe, right?
There's no cold shoe. There's no hot shoe. There is a thread on the bottom for your tripod. But I wonder if you could plug in one of those Rode wireless mic things and have the USB-C dongle thing on the side and record audio that way. But I don't even know how you get into video mode. See, Steven, do I hit these 3 dots? I hit these 3 dots. And what do? I have no idea. I like that. Look, it has the shutter speed in that little box thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But mostly it's mostly useless. Like I'm not
Which is
even
funny because you hate top screens on any other camera.
Well, the thing is, I have nowhere to look. So I'm not looking through an EVF. So I will always be able to see it and be like, oh, that's the shutter speed. But then when you press the button halfway down, I'm not even going to show you, the plus minus for exposure compensation comes on. So the focus seems to be moving fast, but oh, it is a touchscreen, isn't it? Oh, it is a touchscreen. I didn't think it was a touchscreen either. But the screen doesn't move, can't tilt, can't do anything. I don't know how you get into video mode.
At the end of the day, it's a minimalist camera.
And I already used 2% of the battery, so definitely going to die. So anyway, that's going to bring us to the end of RAWtalk 149. You have anything you want to add before we get Uda here, Steven, and get back to work?
That is it.
We thank you guys for listening. I do some daily froze when I feel like ranting on something, and some people said they enjoyed it, and others didn't send in any information. So I do it when I want to do it. It's stuff that I probably wouldn't talk about on the show, and it's just me having a conversation by myself, which is me every night because I'm single, but that's really how it works. You want to text us and give us some feedback, 313-710-9729, or leave comments wherever you can. But most people don't leave comments on podcasts because you're listening to audio and you're not going to stop to go put a message up somewhere. I guess unless you're on YouTube, you could leave a message, leave a comment. So,
Spotify has comments now.
yeah, no one does that. I don't do that.
You
I'm
get
not
like one or
commenting
two
on
every
anybody's.
week, but yeah,
I'm going to leave it there, guys. Steven, that's it.
that's it.
It's May 1st, by the way.
Almost May 4th.
What happens on May 4th? The 4th be
May
with
the
you?
4th be with you.
Whatever. Thank you very much for listening. Jared Polin, FronosPhoto.com. See ya.
Bye.